Well, welcome back, koi mates. It has gone absolutely freezing overnight. Apparently it's supposed to be snow. It does look a little bit white and cloudy up there in the sky. But yeah, my outside temp in the pond today is 6 degrees. So 6.5 is the exact figure, 6.5 in there. So it's getting bish, as I say. And bish means cold, and it's not Welsh, it's just something I've made up over the years. Bishop. And I always say that for some reason. Anyway, let me spin you around. I'll show you what I'm going to be doing today. Right guys, so as you can see, I've got some salt. So I got salt and I got my salt meter. Those are 25 kilogram bags. It's obviously food grade salt, which is what you've got to put in if you are salting your pond. Now, I don't normally salt my pond, but I did it last winter when I had the fish in a temporary pool, and I'll tell you the reasons why I'm going to do it in a minute. Fish have calmed right down in this cooler temp. When I first came out here, I'd just been cleaning the filters. There wasn't much movement in them at all. They've seen me, and now they've started moving around. So the cold is starting to affect them now. Oddly enough, what I have noticed, some of the smaller fish don't seem to be affected as bad. I was watching out there last night by the window, and some of my smaller ones were up on the glass, and yet the bigger ones tend to stay more over here on the shelf area. If all you regular koi mates will know, but if you're new to the channel, it's about a 3.5 foot shelf to about there, and then it drops right down then. And I keep my lilies on there, that's why they go on that shelf. So yeah, and they seem to huddle there. They don't go down to the deepest part of the pond. They seem to go over that area for some unknown reason. Anyway, I'm just gonna check my filters. I got one on boil again for the second time, so I'll catch you in a minute. So I'm going to do a little bit of a water change today. I haven't done it for a little while, so I don't know if you can see my overflow, but there, just under that feeder. That's where I normally keep the pond. Now I've just got a little waste pipe going through there, so I can put it up the other end. If I ever wanted to go higher with the water, I could, just by reversing the pipe that I got the other side. I got like a little U-bend on, so I can do that if I ever want to, but I normally just keep it up to that level. I've got one there, and I've got one on the far end up there as well. So that's what I do my overflow. So what I sometimes do when I'm doing a water change, Like I've drained my static bed down now. I've done it 3 times and I've boiled it so it's nice and clean. I'm going to put a trickle in on, and what I tend to do is I leave my trickle in on then until it starts going out from there, and then I go from there then, and then I'm pretty much spot on when that happens. And if I do want to leave it a bit further, so say I wanted to do a bigger water change, I leave it on, and over there I can run that into some of the plants as well, so I'm recycling the water, I'm not wasting it. So yeah, that's the way I do it. Well, I've just gone to put my trickle in on. And look what I find. And look what I also find. The pest has chewed through my hose pipe. So I got to go and repair that pipe now, so I'm just going to get a small junior hacksaw and cut that off. Yeah, all of you asking about Millie. There she is, look, she is a handful. I won't lie to you, she is a handful. She's coming up to 6 months now, and but it's so nice to have another dog. I mean, I don't know, we lost our other dog. He was 16 and a half. He was 18 months ago now. We said no, you know, with the heartbreak we weren't going to get another one, and we hummed and hard, looked at the advantages, disadvantages, and they are disadvantages, but like that pipe being chewed. But in fairness, it's great to have her about. She is good fun. I mean, she's in the plants there now again. She's probably going to trash the garden in the summer, but what the hell? This is what I mean. She's on her own at the moment. She's going through that stage where she's just into everything. Anyway, I'm gonna cut you off here, and I'm gonna get that off her. Right, koi mates. Salt. Now, you can use salt to take care of parasites and bacteria in the koi's body. As we know, koi live in fresh water, so do parasites and bacteria. A koi pond salt treatment helps eliminate freshwater parasites and bacteria. I mean, I feel that parasites are becoming more resistant. You know, they seem real hard work to get rid of these days. And secondly, the use of salt to promote sickness or recovery, and that just sort of balances the koi's osmoregulation system, which sort of works a little bit like, you know, obviously a koi is a freshwater fish, and it's got a salt level in its body fluid, and that's much higher than the surrounding water if you haven't got any salt in it, obviously. So water comes into the koi's body all the time, and this body won't burst because it can release this water as urine, and that's what keeps it balanced. But when a koi gets sick or stressed, that affects its body function or balance in the osmotic pressure. And then obviously if you add salt, it helps correct that. So, you know, there's a couple of reasons there for using it. But what I found last year, I did use it when I had the fish in the temporary pond. And again, coming out of winter, I found them to be much, much better. So, you know, I think I am going to do it again. I mean, you know, some people say it helps in the winter, some people say it doesn't, but, you know, I suppose it's do your research, do what you think's best for your own pond. What I'm going to do, I mean, when you add the salt as well, you've got to be very careful. So what I've done, I've got a large Whole Foods container there. I filled it with pond water, and I've put half a bag of my salt into it, I'm going to leave it dissolve for an hour or so and then put it in, because you can put it in direct, but you can't put it over the fish because you'll have a big concentration, it'll burn the fish. So I thought I'd put it in the bucket, let it dissolve for an hour or so, and then gradually put it in. I've got my salt meter, so I don't know how much it's going to take yet. I mean, I got ample here. I'm probably only going to take it up to 0.3 anyway, because they got the lilies. I may pull them out now. I'll see in a minute, but that's what I'm doing. I'm leaving it in there, and I'm going to put it in over a couple of days period, because like with everything, you know, they don't like a shock. And if you just whack that up to 0.3, you may unsettle them a little bit. So I'm going to do it slowly. I'll just be happier with that, to be honest with you. That's the way I want to do it. Obviously, you've got to use non-iodinized pure salt, which I've got there. You can't just put like table salt or anything in. There's a way of actually, I mean, I know my pond volume because I filled it with a gauge when I filled it up. But you can actually measure your pond volume using salt. This is very clever. There is a calculation to do it. So if say you built a pond a few years ago and you were unsure, or you've adopted you've had a house and there's a pond there and you don't know how much water's in it, you know, you could use salt to calculate exactly how much water volume you've got. Anyway, I'm rambling on there a minute, so I'm going to give that a stir and see how it's looking. One thing you got to remember, guys, you know, that looks thick as salt there now. It's too much salt is toxic for the fish and it can kill them, right? So don't think just whack it in. You don't need a gauge. You do need a salt meter. I mean, I know my pond is going to take a couple of these bags, so putting half in today isn't going to be an issue. But if you're not sure what size, like I said, your volume, you know, put it in, you know, a cupful at a time or whatever, until you know, until you start getting a reading, you know what you're doing. Like I say, that's not gonna, half a bag isn't gonna do much to this volume. But even though I've put it in the bucket, when it's dissolved, I'm gonna try and pick an area where the koi are not. They tend to be up that end more towards the window. So I'll probably put it in here, because once it goes down and sinks on the bottom, it'll dissolve anyway, so it won't burn them. But what you can't do is pour it over where the fish are and risk burning them. There's no way you can do that. You can't risk that. Just going to get my skimmer put back in now. Give it a clean, put that back in while the salt is slowly evaporating. A bit more activity on the fish now. Even though they don't do much in the cold weather, once you're about and they can see you near the pond, they do tend to move around again. Still looking to move for them on. I'm just looking for a good home for them. That's one of them there. It's a good 40 cm. Can't see where the other ones are. We got one there going across. This big one here, that's another one I want to move on. So that one, this is really one coming by here, the orange one. I'm going to be moving that one on. So if anyone's local and they can give them a good home, let me know. There's 4 altogether. You know, they'd be a good starter for someone who's starting off. They are 40 cm, so they will look pretty big in your pond. You just have to pick them up and bring bags or whatever. Right guys, I've got that salt in now. There's a bit gone, little bits on the bottom where they settled, but that won't hurt. It's only going to burn them if it gets them on the way down, when I made sure they were well out of the way. So it's all, most of it had dissolved anyway, so it's all in. What I did do, I took my lilies out. Didn't film it, but hell of a job getting them out. Managed to do it. And what I've done, obviously this little no-log pond here, I've put them in there. I'm going to get a cover now just to cover the top in case there's any frost, which I'm going to put over them, and they'll be fine in there then for the winter. So they don't need much water as long as they submerge, then it doesn't freeze. So, and as long as Millie don't drink it all, I'll keep an eye on it. Like I say, I'll put something over the top of that to keep the wind off it, stop them freezing, and they'll be fine. So just gonna see if they want a little bit of food now. Whether they will, I don't know. Like I say, it's 6.5 degrees, so I'll try them with a very small amount. I'm not gonna put any more salt in now today. So I'm gonna slowly raise it up to 0.3. Like I say, I'm doing it just to make them a little bit more comfortable after the winter. It seemed last year, I noticed, I don't know what it was, it just seemed a hell of a difference coming out the winter. But what I'll do, I'll gradually, with water changes then over the, once I get this to 0.3, I'll keep it at that, I'll keep topping it up, because when you do water changes, it's gonna dilute. So I'll keep it at 0.3, and if I do need to raise it to 0.6, if I see quite a bit of flashing or anything like that, I could raise it up to 0.6. But what I'll do then in spring, as it starts to warm up a bit, I'll very slowly dilute it down quietly. You know, like I say, I'm not going to just dilute it straight down, because going into spring they'll have a shock of no salt, and then water temps going up. So I'll really do it very slowly until they're back with no salt. So that's what I'm going to do for this winter anyway. Like I say, do your research if you're going to use salt. It can be used for many things. Like I say, transportation, after they've been transported, bit of salt always de-stresses them. You can do salt baths, which is good if you've got one fish in particular that you want to do a salt bath on. So, you know, there's many reasons for koi health to use it. A couple of these, when I did do my scrapes, there was a little bit of bacteria on them, which I'm hoping the salt will help. There's other treatments you can use for that, but I'm hoping the salt will help. Yeah, everything's looking good. There's a little bit of a leaf there in the middle, which I'm going to get in a second. I've noticed when you turn everything down a lot, you don't get the same effect, but just consuming a bit of power at the moment, as we're all probably doing. Just giving you a look at them there. Tell you what, my Karashiko is growing this year. It's put on a fair bit of size. Those two showers down there, may move them on as well, because I've got my eye on them Hoskin shower, which I'm keeping a very close eye on at the moment. It's looking absolutely stunning, and I'm thinking of picking it up. I probably will pick it up, so I may move those two on. Anyway, I'm going to try and with a little bit of food and I'll get back to you. Right guys, very small amount. See if we do anything. See, it is down to 6 degrees. I don't really want to feed it much lower than this, but this is the Takasumi Vital, so if they don't want any, I will net it off. Doesn't seem like they're too keen today. What I normally do in the winter is if they want food, I give them a small amount. If they don't, I just net it off. So whether the salt has put them off slightly a minute because I've been doing that, I don't know. But it doesn't seem like they want it. We'll wait for Jaws and the others to come across, because no doubt Jaws will want something. Get that leaf. So you got my trickling on there, as you can see. That's just trickling the ring. And what I'll do, I'll run it up, like I say, to those overflows. That will take quite a while at that pace. Anyway, food's coming up this way. Don't look like there's much action today. Probably net this up in a minute. Just having a little bite there. Yeah. I'll be netting this off, guys. Anyway, I'm going to end the video, guys. So it was only a quick one today. Like I say, just about reasons why I'm going to do salt this winter. I'm not going to be covering. If I could afford those polycarbs to go right the way across, I would. But there's going to be a lot of flex in the middle of them as well. And I just don't think I'd bother. I've never covered before. I like to see the fish, to be honest with you. In the winter, I still like to come out here and have a look and see what's going on. I think when you're covered, you can't quite see, you know, how the fish are reacting and things. So, yeah. Anyway, guys, I'm going to call it there. Hope you enjoyed it. All the best for now.